Hey guys, this video card is really slow, so why am I going to buy a few more? I searched online and found a period correct review of this video card. It's from the Game Axis Unwired magazine, October 2005. In Doom 3 they benchmarked only around 22 FPS. And in Command & Conquer Generals they benchmarked a similar performance of only around 23 FPS. And here's the card. It launched in 2004 and it is the ATI Radeon X300 SE HyperMemory. We all know that SE or LE cards are usually cut down versions, so this one also has the dreaded 64-bit memory interface. It gets interesting when we look at the memory of this video card. From the front we can see two memory chips peeking out from underneath the heatsink. Flipping over the card, well, what a surprise, no memory chips at all. In total, this video card only has 32 megabytes of VRAM. With HyperMemory, the card can access another 96 megabytes of system memory. This card is for PCI Express, so it's for those who want to build a retro PC with a more modern motherboard. It is entirely passively cooled. That's very nice, easy to maintain, and also very quiet. We have a good range of outputs. There's a dedicated VGA port. Here we have DVI-I, so we can either connect a DVI monitor or use a dongle to convert it to VGA as well. And in the middle is a TV port. It's giving us S-video and composite. Hopefully the card works. Well, look at that, it fired up right away. It's quite a simple card, not too many components. The capacitors all look in decent condition. The only modification I did was solder on a fan header. It is a JST port with 2mm spacing. It's not really necessary, but it was a good opportunity to whip out the soldering iron and give it a go. Using the Everest system information tool, we can see we have 4 pixel pipelines. They are running at 325 megahertz. We can confirm 32 megabytes of DDR memory running at around 300 megahertz, and here the dreaded 64-bit memory interface. And now let's give the card some fill TLC. It's quite dusty and I can see some dirt, so I'm starting off with some general cleaning with a soft brush all around the front, also between the caps, inside the cooling fins, and also on the back, and it's already looking much nicer. I like removing the thermal paste, making sure the cooling works efficiently. I had a few issues here removing the spring-loaded push pins. Usually they come out quite easily by just using a pen, but one of the pins was quite stubborn. In the end I had to use a plier and break it apart to get it out. It's not a big deal because I have many of these spring-loaded push pins as replacement. I can see some leftover thermal paste, quite dry. I used some IPA. It didn't really do too much, so I had to use some plastic scraping tools, scratching the gunk out of the way, and in the end it's looking much better. Here we can see the GPU die, confirming it's a Radeon X300 SE. The heatsink also is getting a little bit of cleaning, first with some IPA and then scratching it clean with some plastic tools. I'm applying some new thermal paste and then 2 brand new spring-loaded push pins, attaching everything, and we are ready to go. Let's have a look at our test system. It's a motherboard from Gigabyte for LGA 775. It's the GA G31M S2L revision 1.0, a micro ATX motherboard for the socket 775. The processor today is the Core 2 Duo E8600. This one is very fast. I want to make sure we are not bottlenecked by anything. We have a G31 chipset, so this one has onboard graphics. There are slots for PCI Express, one with 16 lanes and one with a single lane, 2 PCI slots. For RAM, there are 2 DDR2 slots, 4 SATA ports, and it still comes with some legacy features for floppy and IDE. At the back we have two PS2 ports, which I'm using for this project. There's a serial and a parallel port. VGA if you want to use onboard graphics, 4 USB 2 ports, Ethernet and audio. For RAM we're using a single stick of 512 megabytes of DDR2 memory. Storage today is taken care of by a 32 gigabyte SATA SSD, connecting natively to the SATA ports, so we don't need to use any converters. Today we're installing Windows 98 from a USB thumb drive. I used Rufus to write the 98 quick install image onto it. And for benchmarking, it's important that you have a sound card. Today we're using the good old Sound Blaster Audigy 2ZS. This video is brought to you by PCBWay, our long-term channel sponsor. It is your one-stop shop for printed circuit boards manufacturing, assembly, 3D printing and CNC machining. To order a PCB, click on the Instant Quote button, upload your Gerber file, check the preview of the board and then customize the PCB specifications. Check the link in the video description for more information. Now with the RAM, I maybe made a little mistake. Maybe I should have used 2 sticks of memory to get dual channel performance, because the video card can borrow some of the system RAM. However, under Windows 98, I checked all the driver pages and all the diagnostic tools. Not a single one mentioned HyperMemory, so I believe it's actually not supported, and that under Windows 98 we're just getting the 32 megabytes of VRAM that's on the card. The drivers are wonderful. We're using Catalyst 6.2. They're installed without any issues. I didn't have to modify any INF files. We're getting VSync toggles, options for anti-aliasing and anisotropic filtering. Absolutely beautiful. Coming back to the question at the beginning of the video, why will I buy more of this video card? Well, here we have 3D Mark 99 Max and look at that. Over 200 FPS at the race scene. This is really good. So this might be a budget card when it came out in 2004 and for Windows XP, but for Windows 98, it seems we have a winner on our hands. I think this is budget gold, and here are the results. We're getting 18,563. In 3D Mark 2000, we're also getting very smooth animation and an excellent result, 12,547. And now let's check out some time demos. Well, we can expect fantastic performance. Here are some footage of Quake 3 at 1024 by 768, running blistering fast, and the final score 152.9 FPS. So this is setting high expectations. GL Quake is perfectly playable at all resolutions, even 1600 by 1200. Quake 2 is a little bit more demanding at 1600 by 1200. Maybe the low VRAM is causing issues, but this game runs very well. Here we have the results for Quake 3, 1280 by 1024, 99 FPS. This is excellent. This is Forsaken. Now this benchmark doesn't support 1600 by 1200, but look at the performance, hundreds of FPS. Turok 2 is another game that flies on this video card. Again, 1600 by 1200 is not supported. Power Slide is another game that runs really well. Even at 1600 by 1200 we're getting 76 FPS. Earth 2150 has a built-in benchmark. This is with the Direct 3D render, playable at all resolutions. And even Draken, this is one of the more demanding games destined for Windows 98, 65 FPS at 1600 by 1200. Fantastic. The driver supports anisotropic filtering up to 16x. Here we have some footage in Return to Castle Wolfenstein. We can see decent quality. It's better than what we got with previous Radeon cards, but still not as nice as the GeForce FX, but it's really close. What about the performance impact? Here we have GL Quake comparing with AF disabled and AF 16x. Well, the impact is minimal, so this is a feature I would permanently enable in the driver. Your games will look much nicer. We also have support for anti-aliasing. Here we have some footage in Serious Sam with 4x AA. Geometric shapes are getting cleaned up nicely, but transparent textures remain with jaggies. Performance is a little bit weird, maybe another issue to do with the VRAM. We also limited up to 1024 by 768. Here we have some comparisons in Power Slide. And here another chart with Draken. So in many games at the lower resolutions, you can definitely consider turning on anti-aliasing. 8-bit paletted textures are not supported. Here we have evidence in Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII. I'm afraid table fog is not working. We have some footage here in Star Wars Shadow of the Empire. We can see there's no fog, and we can see the same thing in Thief 2. Fog is just not working on this Radeon, which is a shame. A lot of games use this feature, so that's pretty much the main negative of this video card that I ran into. As a nice bonus, this video card supports DirectX 9, so we can use nGlide, which is a glide wrapper that works really well under Windows 98. And I'm also playing today's game that we will take a closer look at. I'm also playing this one with the Glide API. And here it is, today's game. It's a real gem. It is Earth 2150 Escape from the Blue Planet. This is a real-time strategy game released in the year 2000, developed by Polish developer Reality Pump. Big shout out to anyone from Poland. You have a beautiful country, we are neighbors, and this is a wonderful game. I'm using the GOG version. You just have to install it on a modern computer, copy it to your retro PC and transplant the registry keys, and then the game works just fine under Windows 98. It has support for a range of APIs, 3dFX, Glide, Direct 3D and OpenGL. The graphics are stunning. It is full 3D, unlike other RTS games like Command & Conquer or StarCraft. You can zoom in and out, tilt up and down and rotate the screen. It has day and night cycles and they look stunning. You can see the shadows slowly moving, and at night units and buildings, well, they turn lights on, and the graphics, all in all, they're just really well done. This game is hard, very hard. It's another game I ended up playing with cheats, well, because life is hard enough. I don't need any additional virtual challenges. I just want to sit back, relax, sip a cup of coffee, mine all the resources, build up a little army, and then steamroll the enemy and follow the story along. There are 3 factions to choose from. The story has to do with some nuclear explosions that knocked Earth out of orbit, and whichever faction you choose, your job is to mine enough resources and do it fast so an evacuation ship can be built to escape the dying Earth. There is so much to talk about with this game. It would take its own dedicated video, but my takeaway is that yes, although it is brutally hard, if you stick with it, it really grows on you. And as you take a look at some guides and let's play videos, you'll learn all sorts of strategies and tactics that reveal a level of complexity and attention to detail that is the reason why this game is so loved by the PC gaming community. One of the biggest differences is that you have a main base that is persistent. So after you finish a mission, you can fly back all your units to your main base and use them again in the next mission. This saves you from building them over and over, and also your units will gain experience and grow stronger. Units are customizable. You can equip them with different weapons. For example, the cannon is more powerful but can't reach enemies in the air. So in the beginning I equipped them with machine guns, which are weaker but are effective against enemies on the ground and in the air. It even has a tunnel system where you can dig under the enemy, and there are also hidden secrets to be discovered. I have finished the campaign of the Eurasian Dynasty, and after that there are 2 expansions waiting for me, the Moon Project and Lost Souls. There are also community patches that you can use to play this on a modern computer with some upgrades, but for me it has to be played on a Windows 98 retro gaming PC. So yeah, big thumbs up for Earth 2150. It is well worth checking out. So guys, well, what an awesome little card, the ATI Radeon X300 SE HyperMemory is the worst of the X series video card. It launched well into the Windows XP era and was a real budget bottom of the barrel product. But thank you ATI for giving us Windows 98 drivers. Here the card is outstanding. PCI Express lets us use this with more modern systems. Performance is excellent. It has passive cooling, DVI output, TV out as well, AA, AF, DirectX 9 for N-Glide, and compatibility with games is excellent. Better than what I saw with PCI Express cards from Nvidia. It ticks most of the boxes. The only negative is that table fog is not supported. Quite a few games use it, so that is unfortunate. However, on the flip side, this video card is very cheap. And yeah, I will buy a few more, stocking up on these because I think they will become a great option, seeing HEB parts are becoming harder to find and more expensive. Now going forward, I want to check out more of the X series video cards, X600, X700. We have already reviewed the X850 in the past, so I don't have to cover that one again. And now I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts about this budget video card and using it in a Windows 98 retro gaming PC? Do you think the lack of table fog is a big deal? And have you played Earth 2150 before? I'd love to hear your comments. My highlight of the week is sitting down on a Saturday morning, drinking a cup of coffee and reading all your comments. I always learn something from you. Thank you so much for the support, for watching my videos. It's a really fun hobby and I can't wait to see you soon with another one.